Hi, I'm Ralph Lawton and I'd like to show you a few things today when it comes to preparing wood. Now we're going to look at machine preparation. First thing we need to do is to check that the fence is square to the table. If the fence isn't square, then you're wasting your time and you're going to create all sorts of problems down the line. It's very simple to do. I tend to check it every time I use a machine. Just use a known square that you know is good. Bring it up to the fence, adjust the fence, and the easiest way to see whether it's actually square is to just move it away slightly and you'll see a bead of light coming through and you can see that it's parallel all the way down. Once you've done that, it's just a matter of checking that you have the correct depth of cut. Now, a lot of people look at these machines and say, well, they'll cut this and they'll cut that and they'll cut all sorts of different things. My experience has always been that you want to take the minimal cuts to start with and just ease it up a little bit if you find it's taking too long. Unless you've got some really badly warped wood, you're not going to be taking too much material off. We always start with our piece of wood, as we did on the bench, looking for a crown in the wood. And if it's got a curve in it, as this one has, we want the crown up, so that we're taking off material from here and material from here. All we need to do is to take enough material off to make this surface perfectly flat. And that's what we'll do now. I just want to adjust the guard so that we're protecting ourselves. Take it over to the fence, just so that it's not pushing against the fence, it's just in contact with the fence. Lock it down, lower the guard, bring the timber up, and you want a minimal clearance above the timber, just so you can't get your fingers under it really. And off we go. Two passes over the machine and we've now got a perfectly flat area. Next job to do is to trim one of the edges so that it's square with the face. We're going to do that by looking at the edge and working out which way the grain's running. Now again, with this piece of wood there's grain all over the place, but the grain is running very much in that direction on that edge, which means that if we were to put the wood on the fence that way, we'd be cutting against the grain. We wouldn't get a very good edge, whereas this edge is running off that way predominantly and we'll get a better edge there. So we're just going to take that up to the fence, hold it up to the fence. You can see that it will wobble a bit, but that's because that edge isn't square and we want to make it square. I'm now going to lower the guard to cover the cutter block. There you have the squared edge, which is now squared to the face. At this point, we've now reached a face side that we're going to use and a face edge. Now these are used to reference off all our other dimensions, as we did on the bench. So I'll just mark these before we go any further. The next job will be to rip this to width. We'll do it on the table saw. We've got a face that we can put on the table saw. We've got a nice square edge that we can put up against the fence. So when we run this through the table saw, that will make this cut absolutely parallel. We've used the planer thicknesser in its planer mode so far, and we've just transformed it into its thicknessing mode. We're working from the other end of the machine, as you can see. The bed has been raised to give us something approaching the thickness of the material. So I'm now just going to run this through. This is the surface that we've just produced from running it through thicknessing. This surface is now perfectly parallel to this surface. The face edge, which is the first edge we made, was then sawn to a parallel edge and then finally finished. We now have a board that has two sides that are parallel and two edges that are parallel. At this point, because there's a machine finish on here, I usually like to take this back to the bench and put a hand plane over it.